Let me tell you something strange about silence in the digital age. We live in a world where almost everything is shared. Birthdays, coffee cups, sunsets, tears, laughter, even pain dressed up with filters. And yet some people stay completely invisible. They scroll quietly, observe deeply, but rarely, if ever, post. You might know someone like that. Maybe you are someone like that. And here's the question that always lingers in people's minds. Why? Why would someone choose to stay unseen when the whole world seems to be shouting for attention? It's easy to assume that people who don't post are simply shy or introverted, but that's not the full picture. Beneath the surface, there's an entire psychology at play, one that speaks volumes about human nature, self-perception, and the quiet rebellion against a culture obsessed with visibility. For some people, silence is not emptiness, it's control. It's the power to choose what the world doesn't get to know. Because whether we admit it or not, social media has subtly reshaped how we define ourselves. It rewards display, it praises noise. And yet those who stay in the shadows are often the ones who see everything most clearly. They watch without needing to interrupt. They think before reacting. They analyze before judging. Psychologists have found something fascinating. People who refrain from posting frequently score higher on traits like self-restraint, introspection, and emotional independence. They tend to be less influenced by social comparison and external validation. In other words, they aren't trying to prove who they are. They're trying to understand it. And in a world drowning in performances, that's rare. Because let's be honest, most of what we post isn't just communication, it's identity crafting. Every caption, every photo, every status update is an unconscious audition for belonging. This is who I am, do you approve? But when you stop posting, something shifts. You begin to detach your worth from digital applause. You stop thinking in captions and start experiencing moments for yourself again instead of for a lens. And that's the secret psychology behind many people who don't post. They crave authenticity in a space where everything feels staged. For some, the decision not to post comes after emotional burnout. Maybe they once shared everything, until one day it stopped feeling real. They realized that every time they shared something beautiful, they felt an invisible pressure to keep outdoing themselves. They weren't living anymore, they were performing. So they quit quietly, no announcement, just a slow disappearance from the feed. And here's what's often misunderstood. Not posting doesn't mean not feeling. It often means they care too much about presence, about meaning, about protecting what's sacred. There's a concept called psychological ownership, the feeling that something belongs deeply to you, a thought, a memory, an experience. And when you post it online, that sense of ownership fades just a little. The moment becomes shared property, open to judgment, misinterpretation, even mockery. People who don't post are often guarding their sense of ownership over life itself. They keep their moments untouchable, private, pure. And maybe that's not sadness or withdrawal. It's a quiet kind of freedom. Think about it. When was the last time you did something meaningful and didn't feel the urge to share it? To post it, that reflex, that need to display, isn't natural. It's conditioned. It's the product of a decade of likes, shares, and dopamine loops training our brains to equate validation with value. When someone steps outside that system, it can feel like rebellion, but it's also healing. Cooking without photographing it, traveling without tagging it, feeling without explaining it. And in that space, something awakens, a kind of self-awareness that doesn't need an audience. Not everyone who doesn't post is doing it from a place of peace. Some are driven by fear of judgment, rejection, or being misunderstood. Social media amplifies a subtle form of anxiety called self-presentational pressure, the constant awareness that you're being watched, even when you're not. For many, that's exhausting. They worry that what they say might be misread or ignored, so they retreat, not because they don't want to connect, but because the cost of visibility feels too high. They want to be seen, but only truly, not superficially. Ironically, sometimes the quietest people online have the loudest thoughts in their minds. They're overflowing, but they choose stillness instead of spectacle. There's a philosophical undertone to that silence. In a world that constantly says, "Look at me," choosing invisibility becomes a form of self-definition. It's saying, "I exist beyond your perception." They understand that not everything you experience is meant to be witnessed. Growth, grief, transformation, these happen quietly, unseen, unposted. And when you've lived through enough private transformations, you start realizing something important. Being unseen is not the same as being insignificant. Social media was designed to connect us, yet it often leaves people feeling more isolated than ever. When you don't post, you stop chasing digital closeness and start rebuilding real ones. You notice who checks in on you without updates, who remembers you without reminders. That kind of connection, raw, unbroadcasted, feels heavier, warmer, and infinitely more real. And the people who don't post live in that space. They build relationships that don't need proof. They find comfort in the unshared moment. Part of this is about identity security, knowing who you are even when nobody's watching. When you're comfortable in your own company, you don't need an audience to validate your worth. That's not arrogance, it's peace. Studies show that people who take long breaks from posting often experience increased emotional stability and life satisfaction, because when your sense of identity is no longer mirrored back constantly, it becomes solid, it becomes real. You're living life in all its messy, beautiful, unfiltered complexity. Maybe that's the real rebellion, staying whole in a world that rewards fragments. Silence online doesn't always mean serenity. Sometimes it hides exhaustion. Many retreat not out of bitterness but self-preservation. They realize they don't owe the world a performance, an explanation, or constant proof of happiness. We've confused visibility with value, but real meaning doesn't need witnesses. The moments that shape you most rarely make it to the feed. Your growth, heartbreaks, private victories, quiet acts of kindness. They live in memory, not media. Psychologists talk about authentic self-expression as alignment between your inner and outer world. In the age of filters, that alignment is constantly distorted. Choosing not to post can be a way of preserving that truth. Silence becomes a homecoming. When you stop broadcasting, you hear your own thoughts again. You reconnect with your quiet desires, fears, and inner compass. It's profoundly spiritual, not withdrawal. It's being present with yourself. Some say if you didn't post it, did it even happen? But the truest moments of your life, the ones that shape you, often happen entirely offline. And those who don't post understand this best. They remind us that being unseen doesn't mean being alone, that sometimes the most human thing you can do is keep something entirely for yourself. In a world desperate to be seen, their silence is a mirror, a reminder that not everything meaningful has to be shared. That presence, depth, and life itself are far more profound than attention.